This is part of an online introductory course on number sense tricks. We'll be going through every trick necessary for a beginner to begin competing on a mental math exam. First, we're going to start off with a few multiplication tricks for this, essentially you can call Unit 1. And this is the most fundamental trick you can learn. It's called the FOIL technique that helps you multiply two-digit numbers. So, the reason why it's called the FOIL technique is because you're essentially using the same idea from expanding binomials. So if you took an Algebra 1 class, you've definitely seen this before. The only difference is we're going to be doing things in a slightly different order. The idea revolves around using the expansion techniques that you use in Algebra 1. However, we're going to be doing everything in a slightly different order, because this order is going to be used to write down the units, digits, and tens digits of our multiplication. So I labeled the expansion of this binomial using nice colors, and I labeled it in a very specific way, but it is equivalent to expanding this normally. So here's the trick. The first thing you want to do is you want to multiply numbers on the right side. So I want to multiply the 4 and the 7. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you your units digit. 4 times 7 gives me 28, and you're only going to write down the units digit of that. In this case, you're going to carry a 2. From here, you want to do the rainbow step, which involves taking the inners and the outers multiplications from FOIL. So you want to make sure you do this in conjunction. This is all one step to get the tens digit of this multiplication. So you just want to multiply them and then add them together. So 4 times 4 gives me 16. 2 times 7 gives me 14. And if you add them, you get 30. But then you have to make sure you carry the 2 from your initial multiplication. Now, this gives you 32. So you write down a 2 and you carry 3. Now, a good tip that I usually like to give my kids is usually when you're carrying numbers, please make sure you try to use your fingers. It really helps out for trying to remember what digits you're carrying. A lot of kids aren't very strong at first, at least, when they're with this. So it's good to have that in your heads. That way you won't mess up too much whenever you're doing this. From there, the last step is to do the numbers furthest on the left. And this will be pretty easy. 2 times 4 is 8. And you want to add whatever you carried last time, which in this case was 3. So you get 11. Now, you've run out of numbers in multiplying this FOIL, so you can just go ahead and write the whole number in. And that's it. That's your first example of how to use FOIL with this technique. Now, obviously, you cannot write on your exams whenever you do this. So I'm gonna do 2 more examples of this, each time writing less and less, just to give you guys the idea of how you should be thinking about this in your head. Next, same thing as the previous example. 3 times 9 gives me 27. So you want to write down a 7. You want to carry a 2. From then the inner and outer steps, you want to multiply and add. Again, the rainbow step is very important that you do it in conjunction. 6 times 3 gives me 18. 9 times 5 gives me 45. 18 plus 45 gives me 63. And then 63 plus the 2 that I carried, again, use your fingers, gives me 65. And I'm going to carry a 6. Finally, 5 times 6 gives me 30. But I had to carry a 6, so I have to write 36. And that's it. One last example so you can see how I actually visualize this in my head. Same exact stuff. 9 times 8 gives me 72, so I write down a 2, carry 7. Then I do 9 times 3 plus 7 times 8. That should give you 27 plus 56, and that should be 83. Plus 7 gives me 70. Wait, no, 90, sorry. So you write a 0 and carry 9. Finally, you do 7 times 3, which gives you 21, plus the 9 gives you 30. And there you go.